Have you ever had apple cake? Well, I created a really easy recipe for this classic dessert, and to make it fancy, I'm going to pour some warm vanilla custard on top with a sprinkle of nutmeg to spice it up. That's coming up next on Cooking Made Easy with June, brought to you by Macy's, the happy shopping store in Spanish Fork. Hi, welcome to Cooking Made Easy with June. Today I am going to show you how to make this amazing classic dessert that you are going, and I'm going to make it fancy and you're going to love it because it's easy and it's fancy and it's so delicious, and they're going to go, wow, this is so great. So you can serve it for your holidays or just for a nice Sunday dinner. Okay, so I'm going to first show you, this is my little thing. I hate cleaning up and you have pans. So I love to actually you buy large packs of these, and then I love to just line it a little bit for this cake, and so that we can take it out easily. And so I make about a rectangular. It doesn't have to be perfectly, symmetric or anything, but I just would cut the corners like that. After I cut it into a rectangle size, approximately a little bigger than the pan. And then we're going to just put it in here because the corners are going to overlap. And so, well, I need to cut it a little deeper. So you need to cut it a little bit deeper so you can overlap the corners. Okay. So you push it down, and so how this will overlap here, and this will overlap here. And if you tear it like I did, it's fine too, because that way you can just push it down. Okay, so there you have, it's not perfect, but it doesn't matter because we just want it to basically sit enough so that we can add the cake batter. So I'm going to set that aside real quick right here. All right, so let's make our batter. So basically what I did, I have this amazing carrot cake recipe that I love. So honestly, you could do the same recipe and eliminate a few spices and add grated carrots, and it's so good. But basically, we're going to start out with 1.5 cups of oil, vegetable oil. I love canola oil. I've just come to be a staple in my kitchen. I wonder if the olive oil might be a little too strong and add a little flavor. Some people do like making cakes with olive oil, but I prefer the canola. It seems to have more of a neutral flavor for cakes like this, because we're going to add cinnamon and things like that. So we have 1.5 cups of oil. And we have 4 eggs, large eggs. I always buy large eggs. And one time I didn't see large eggs, and I noticed a huge difference from the large to the medium to the small eggs. I don't even know if they sell small eggs anymore. But I have a neighbor at the Van Tassel. They're so great. They have chickens, and they always bring me fresh eggs, and those are the best because the yolk is more rich. Anyway, so back to the eggs. Large eggs and 2 cups of sugar. We've known each other for a long time now, right? So I just keep it really informal. Like I say, one day maybe we can have some fancy people, like a lot more assistants can help me put it somewhere, but I'm just gonna do it like I do in my own kitchen, right? So we have 2 cups of sugar and 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. Honestly, you could measure, or you could just, sometimes I just do 2 teaspoons. It doesn't hurt to have extra vanilla. And then we're going to just whisk that with, so then I'm going to add cinnamon and baking soda and that with the flour. Okay, I'm like, wait, what did I write? Okay, so that's it. And then we just stir it. Mix it with a whisk so that we could whisk the eggs thoroughly with the oil and the sugar so that it would be incorporated. Now, I considered maybe, if you'd like, you could try maybe halving the oil and add some butter instead, make it a little bit more buttery, but just the regular oil works really well with this because I'm going to make a yummy custard to go on top. So that's it. So now I'm going to add the flour. Let's see. Here we go. My flour. Luckily, flour and sugar have a different texture, and I won't make a mix. It comes with the salt and the sugar, and mix them together. That really makes a big difference. Okay, so we have 3 cups of flour. So I'll just measure it to approximation. 1, 2, and 3. Every time I measure flour, I keep thinking about the old, I don't know if you guys remember when they're, those bread machines that are so popular for maybe like for a year, where you can make fresh bread by just putting in flour and all this, but you have to like measure it so exact that it drove me nuts. Anyways, so we have flour, cinnamon, a tablespoon of cinnamon. Oops, excuse me, cinnamon. Love cinnamon. I always love a cake with lots of cinnamon in it, so I'm going to put approximately a tablespoon. No, I have more. Well, that's good enough. Tablespoon of cinnamon, and then a 2 teaspoons of baking soda. Of course, love the Food Club brand. Baking soda, and a 1/2 teaspoons each of nutmeg and cloves. So it's a spice, lovely spice cake, apple spice cake, and oh, I have to wash that. Cloves and allspice, nutmeg, allspice, and cloves. Now, if you don't have all these spices, you can still make it. If you eliminate one of the spices, it'll still be yummy. The main thing is the cinnamon, I believe. If you have just cinnamon, you'll still make a great apple cake. All right, so we're going to stir it all up. Well, first I'm going to kind of stir this up so it doesn't clump up anything. So I'm going to stir this up, just like that. You can have your kids help you make this. Might be a little messy, like I am splattering things around. I love watching food stir. So if you want to have your kitchen smell amazing, you need to make this cake. All right, so I'm gonna stir it up like that, and well, I guess I need to get all in there. And it seems thick, but it's gonna be so moist. So it's kind of a thicker cake batter like that, but it's not too heavy. It's gonna be so great, watch. Okay, so you can see the little specks of cinnamon, and I can already smell it. It's not crazy. Okay, so now, here's the thing. I'm gonna wash my hands real quick. So now I'm just going to grate some apples. I love to use the less stuff I need to carry around and make a mess of bowls. I can do that. So I'm just going to grate the apples just like this. Now the apples you want to use are like the Fuji's or the Pink Ladies, a little bit more firm. The only apple that, now if you only have Galas, which they're a little softer, it's fine, but I would recommend just using these harder apples, and they're bigger. And so I just go ahead, I like to just do this because I don't like to make another bowl and make more messes. Now, I also have a grater that sits on the counter, you know, how it's square all around, then you have to shake it and all that. But I love this simple grater because you can just easily get anything back on there, brush anything back on there. So, and I do the peels. I love this recipe because I just don't want to peel anything either. And with these apples, even if you have like green Granny Smith, the peelings are a little bit more thick. So what we need is approximately 3 cups. I've used less than that because all the apples I have were like a little bit shy of 3, but you need at least 2 cups. Okay, so but I would go with 3. So don't scrape yourself. So I have that, so that get as much as you can out of the apple. Everything's so expensive nowadays, and you don't want to waste it. And so here, that's approximately 1 cup. You can see that, and then we add another cup. So I'm actually putting a little muscle into this, and you can also put it here or whatever. But anyways, whew, this is a good workout for your arms and back and whatever. A little pressure on TV. But actually, when I'm cooking and doing stuff like this, I love to just have my phone or a little device right there and I'm watching Hallmark Christmas movies or any Hallmark. I can watch Hallmark Christmas movies all year long. So it's actually really fun. And the way my kitchen is set up, actually I could even turn the TV on and watch or listen to some music. So actually cooking is very enjoyable to me when I'm confident with the recipe and I know it's going to turn out really great. Okay, so that's another one. Let's do one more. All right, so when the pan that I chose, the pan that I chose to bake in, it's not really fancy, but that's okay. I want to eliminate less cleanup. Sometimes I just throw it away. I lined it up there or I use it again. But because you're going to cut it up and you're going to serve it with the warm custard, so it's going to look great. So watch. Okay, so I'm almost there. So I love apples because you know how versatile they are. So if you store it in the fridge in the fall or in even any time, they seem to last forever. And I've even one time I had apples sitting on my counter and they weren't, they were getting old and getting a little, some little bruises. And those are the best to make pies, and you can make this cake with it. If the apple is a little bit soft and you can't grate it like I am doing, you can cut it and, I guess you could put it in a blender. It'll be fine, So anyway, so you see all the juice in there. Okay. Good enough for this. All right. Look, I got my recipe all messed up. That's okay. But we just don't want the recipe in the cake dough, cake batter. All right, so I moved that over there. So you just fold it in. It's not really any specific way to fold it in. Oh, I wish you could smell my cinnamon and allspice and nutmeg already just in here. Okay, so look, some of it's sticking on the side, so I want to make sure I'm going to use a harder spoon to get that off because my spatula is not. See how you got that batter, that cake in there? Just make sure you get all that in there to mix it. There we go. And the spatula is so that we don't waste the cake batter like that. All right. So I'm just going to, I have my oven preheated at 350, and I'm just going to pour my cake batter in here. And use my spatula. So much batter is wasted if you don't use a spatula. Okay, so as you notice that, see how this is a little bit uneven than that, but that's okay, and it'll still work great. So just shake it a little bit to make it kind of even. So now I'm going to stick it in the oven, and when we come back, we can take a little break. When we come back, I'm going to show how to make the delicious vanilla custard. And yeah, so don't go away. All right, welcome back. Oh, you guys, a classic vanilla custard, or what you might call it, a vanilla pudding, but you've got to make it from scratch. It's amazing. So you're never gonna go back. It's so easy. You need a cup of milk, and instead of some recipes call for half and half, but I prefer whipping cream, because whipping cream has a lot of buttery fat, natural fat content. And I'm going to scrape that off. I don't want to waste that. Where is it? Okay, so I'm going to scrape that off there because it's really thick and you don't want to waste whipping cream. Okay, and so you want to have a little bit of milk set aside because it might be a little bit thicker than you want. So you want it thicker, but there's a 1/3 cup of sugar. And we just put that in there. And then we add 2 to 3 tablespoons. This is a half tablespoon. 2 to 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. So that's 1, 2, and I want to do 3 because I can thin it out if it's too thick for me, okay? But the whipping cream also is a little thicker, and we're going to thicken it more with eggs. So let's turn it on to about medium heat. Before it gets hot, you want to whisk everything up so that it does not become clumpy. Now, I don't mind if you put it on a little bit like a medium-high heat, as long as you are here, right here, standing right there, constantly stirring. I think this is why a lot of people don't like to make their own pudding or custard, because it takes this little extra step. But if you're patient, you could like double the recipe and put them in jars. It's so good. I've just eaten it like a pudding or put some over like some fresh raspberries. But this is for our apple cake. Okay, so I'm going to stir. Oops, here we go. And keep stirring. Let's talk a little bit about this custards. I'm not a big fan of custard where, like, you know how they say custard ice cream and makes it so rich with the egg yolks. But I do like this. We use whole eggs, and then we put it in here when it is partially put it in the beaten eggs. So just be patient. So, okay, you can cut this part, like, so we can just, do you know what I mean? Like, we can, okay, awesome. So I'm gonna let that cook a little bit. We'll leave this here. Would it look weird if I magically change things around, or?
No, I'm gonna cut to a close-up, so.
Okay.
It'll just be like, you've been stirring the whole time. And just make sure you say, you know that it's ready to do the next step when, and then give them the reason that you're ready now.
Say that one more time.
So when is it ready? When will it be ready?
Maybe 3 or 4 minutes.
Okay, so say that. Make sure you say that to the camera. Like after 3 or 4 minutes of stirring, then we add this.
And it depends on the stove. I'll talk. Yeah, I see. Okay. Sorry, forgot how this part.
I just, yeah. If we're gonna cut, I just want to make sure that you mentioned that we have been stirring for about 4 minutes. So that people don't go, oh wow, you just immediately had it.
Oh, I can't wait for you guys to taste this. So yummy.
I was talking about how satisfying it is to hear like heavy whipping cream hitting a bowl because it's so thick. And, it's just like perfect.
Heavy whipping cream is so delicious.
Yeah, I like condensed milk too. Those are two like.
You know what? I'm gonna just keep the camera. I'm gonna start cutting up the cake. Oh no, we can't. Well, can we? No, because we're gonna bring it out of the oven like this, and then place it for our last segment.
Yeah.
That'll be fine. Never. I'm just thinking out loud. So just preparing, so we can just jump right into it. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so. Did I not put salt in that batter, in the cake? I don't think I did. Oh, crap. It's okay, it's the other one.
Yeah, this one will taste good. And it'll be in the ingredients, so it'll be fine.
It'll taste good.
It'll taste
Even the other one, it'll be fine.
You were talking
It'll be a
about
little
salt.
extra. It'll be a little extra tart.
Oh.
You talked about salt a lot, how flour was different, sugar.
Yeah. Oh, never fails. Something. That's okay. So the last segment we're gonna cut and put, and I'm gonna find something. Ooh. Oh, it's still good. It's coming. And I'm going to find something to put the custard in. Can you, a tall man, come in? Or I can get a stool. So behind that, there's another prettier gravy boat. Oh, I made this. I mean, we could warm this up. Oh, no, we don't have egg in it, so. We have lots of custard. I made it ahead because I wanted to make sure I had enough. You see it? Yeah, oh yeah, this is it. Perfect. So we're going to have that, then sprinkle stuff on top, and serve it on a plate. Actually, I like this. I love this little pasta bowl. Think of anything else? Apple. I want to, the last segment, I want to slice maybe a little couple of apples. I'll use my other cooking. Oh, okay, we're ready. Yep.
And in 3, 2.
All right, welcome back. So I have been actually stirring this for about 5, maybe 6 minutes. So see how thick it is with the whipping cream and the, so it's a little, well, it's a little thick, but let's see what happens when we add the eggs. So I'm going to go ahead and put some, put the 2 eggs in here. We're going to whisk the eggs into another bowl or container. And I'm just going to put a little bit like that. See how I'm doing that? Because you don't want it to curdle the eggs. So I'm going to just gradually, you don't want clumps of egg. You want it smooth. So that's why we're gradually doing this. Okay, so I'm going to add, so this is really thick. Add a little bit of milk. Cool it a little bit. So I'm going to add a little bit more milk here too. So that looks like about maybe a 1/4 cup of milk. So I'm going to stir it back in here. And make sure we get all that in here. So you can see how smooth that is. I don't know if you can see that. It's very thick. I'm going to actually add a little bit more milk. So I want to say, you know, it's up to you. Some people like a really thick custard, but I want to say that's about a 1/4 cup of milk that I added. But you just kind of gradually add maybe a couple tablespoons at a time to get the consistency of the custard that you like, or the pudding. And at this point, you can also taste it. If you would like it a little sweeter while it's warm, then you could add maybe another tablespoon of sugar or whatever you want, if you like it a little bit sweeter. Or if you want to use it for a different cake that's already sweeter, you might not want to add any more. So that's it. Look at that beautiful custard. All right. So let's see. I almost forgot the vanilla. Okay, so you need to add vanilla last. So it's approximately 1.5 teaspoon. That's where your flavor is. Guys, it smells so good. It's amazing. Cannot wait for you to taste it. All right. All right, that's it for our custard. So we're going to take another little break. When we come back, I'm going to have the cake out and we're going to have a taste. Pour some warm custard on it. Okay, so let's turn that off. Hi, welcome back. And so we have this lovely cake that's been baking. Again, it's 30 to 45 minutes. It depends on your oven. And when you put a knife in, it comes out clean, like that. So it's been cooled, and I had checked it already. And so, oh, I can smell it still, even though it's been cooled. So I'm just going to lift it up and bring it up here. See how easy that is when we take that extra step? And this is, I guess you could rinse it off a little bit and save it. But now that, look at how lovely the cake is. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it into, I want to say, fourths this way. So I'm going to cut it into fourths this way. And then that's a little uneven, but I'm going to do thirds this way. So I want to say this cake makes great, maybe 12, serves about 12 people. Really good size cakes. So let's go ahead and put the pieces in. I'll put this end piece in. Wow, these are big pieces of cake. I guess you could use a more oblong or wider oblong pan, and now that would change your cooking time. So make sure that if you're going to do that, that you watch the cake and start out with 30 minutes or even 25 minutes and watch it as it cooks and check and maybe add 5 minutes at a time to make sure the middle is cooked. Okay, so I think that looks great. I'm going to move this aside. And to make it look even more lovely with my cloth here, let's cut some apples to put on top. So I'm just going to do a few slices of apple for garnish. You could, have a longer pan, and you could maybe have maybe just some apples right there, and just to show. So I'm going to put some vanilla custard. Let me get my spatula. Always forget my spatula. Put some vanilla custard in here. Now, how you might want to serve it is have this warm custard in a crock pot, like in a small crock pot. Okay. And but I'm just going to leave this in here for my piece. Okay, so I'll put that right here. Put my cake here. Let's put this right here. Okay. You know what would be pretty too if you put a little cinnamon or nutmeg. This is cinnamon. Guess you could go like that. Okay. And then we have nutmeg. So I like to have, I'm going to have two different kinds of spices if they want one or the other or both to add to that. So let's put this right here. I don't know where to put it. And I'm going to get me a little piece to taste. I like the crusty part. I love end pieces. And I'm just going to put some custard on mine and have a taste. And then we could do a pretty one to show too. Maybe I'll do that. I'll put a piece right here, a middle piece. Some people go for the middle piece, right? And let's put some custard on top. Ooh, goodness, I'm gonna add a little more custard than that. Okay, let's sprinkle a little cinnamon and put this right here. And put this here. Okay, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So fancy. I'm going to add a little nutmeg on mine. And a little cinnamon too. Oh gosh, came out so fast. I love cinnamon. That's a lot of cinnamon. That's okay. I'm going to get this end. I'm going to put a little bit more custard on mine. You guys, this is going to be so bad. such a comfort food. It's so easy, as you can see, and so fancy. So for your next meal, holiday even, festive meal, you're going to make this and they're going to go, wow, I mean, look. So till next time, happy cooking, and I'll see you on Cooking Made Easy with June.